And therefore it has certain guidelines that it must follow. Now, I wish time permitted me to go into every aspect of this text, but I want to just mention a few. Let us first think of the fact that if the church is following its guidelines, it seeks to heal the brokenhearted. Now, there's probably no human condition more tantalizing than a broken heart. You see, brokenheartedness is not a physical condition. It's a condition of spiritual exhaustion. And who here this morning has not experienced a broken heart? I would say brokenheartedness comes basically from the trying experience of disappointment. And I don't believe there are many people here this morning under the sound of my voice who have not been disappointed about something. Here there's a young man or a young woman dreaming of some great career and setting out in school to try to make that career possible, only to discover that they don't quite have the mental faculties, the technical know-how to achieve excellence in that particular field, and so they end up having to choose life's second best, and because of this, they end up with a broken heart. Here is a couple standing before the altar in a marriage that seems to be born in heaven, only to discover that 6 months or a year later, the conflicts and the dissensions begin to develop. Arguments and misunderstandings begin to unfold. And that same marriage, which a year earlier seemed to have been born in heaven, ends up in the divorce court. And the individuals are left with a broken heart. Here it is a family, a mother and father striving desperately to train their children up in the way that they should go, working hard to make their education possible, working hard to give them a sense of direction, praying fervently for their guidance, and yet, in spite of all of this, one or two of the children end up taking the wrong road, moving toward some strange and tragic far country. And the parents end up having to acknowledge that the children that they raised, the prodigals, lost in a far country, and they end up with a broken heart. And then there comes life's ultimate tragedy. That's something that always makes for a broken heart. Who this morning hadn't experienced it? And you must stand before the bier of a loved one that day when the casket rolls down the aisle. That experience called death, which is the irreducible common denominator of all men. No one can lose a loved one. No one can lose a mother, a father, sister, brother, a child without ending up with a broken heart. Brokenheartedness is a reality in life. And Sunday after Sunday, week after week, people come to God's church with broken hearts. Yes. They need a word of hope. And the church has an answer. If it doesn't, it isn't the church. The church must say in substance that brokenheartedness is a fact of life. Don't try to escape when you come to that experience. Don't try to repress it. Don't end up in cynicism. Don't get mean when you come to that experience. The church must say to men and women that Good Friday is a fact of life. The church must say to people that failure is a fact of life. Some people are only conditioned to success. They're only conditioned to fulfillment. And then when the trials and the burdens of life unfold, they can't stand up with it. But the church must tell men that Good Friday is as much a fact of life as Easter. Failure is as much a fact of life as success. Disappointment is as much a fact of life as fulfillment. And the church must tell men to take your burden. Take your grief and look at it. Don't run from it. Say that this is my grief, and I must bear it. Look at it hard enough and say, how can I transform this liability into an asset? This is the power that God gives you. He doesn't say that you're going to escape tension. He doesn't say that you're going to escape disappointment. He doesn't say that you're going to escape trials and tribulations. What religion does say is this, that if you have faith in God, that God has the power to give you a kind of inner equilibrium through your pain. So let not the heart...
Ain't nothing